Hi and happy Monday. I'm King 5 meteorologist Rich Marriott, and boy, it did heat up over the weekend. Those temperatures yesterday really shot up there. We're in the mid to upper 80s and near 90 degrees from Seattle southward, and it was a really warm Sunday afternoon to wrap up the weekend. It would have been a good weekend to be sitting out there at the marina in Bellingham, which is looking pretty nice today. They're probably still going to get into the low to mid 80s, even right there on the edge of the water. And as you move inland, a lot of places are going to be pushing that 90-degree mark, even in the northern counties. We're settling into a hot couple of days, and we're in first alert weather mode as a result of that. Take a look at Tacoma Tower Cam. You see a little bit of smoke haze out there. That's from that Bear Gulch fire, which continues to burn and produce smoke, but fortunately most of it is going up to the higher elevation. So at the surface, we've seen very little decrease in our air quality, which is definitely good news. Looking at our low temperatures this morning, it took forever for it to cool off. We were still in the low to mid 70s out at SEA after midnight last night, and they finally dropped down into the mid to upper 60s around the main urban heat islands there, Seattle, Everett, Tacoma, and over towards Bremerton, and only stayed there briefly for an hour or two before it started to warm up. In fact, checking mid-morning temperatures already back into the low to mid 70s, so very quickly warming up today, which is going to get us right back to those temperatures we had yesterday, maybe add a degree or two, and even warmer as we head towards tomorrow. Take a look at that first alert 7-day forecast. You can see we've got 2 hot days in a row, first alert weather days both today and tomorrow for those temperatures, which are hot for people who live in Puget Sound for sure. But we do see a major cool down as we head towards midweek. You can see we drop off 15 to 20 degrees in a lot of areas as we head towards Wednesday. So relief is in sight. You just have to be patient. In fact, we might even see a little bit of rain by the time we hit the end of the week. So first alert weather day today through tomorrow night at 10 p.m. basically because of the temperatures 80s to near 90 degrees today, and then tomorrow we'll see some low to mid 90s around the area, and having trouble cooling off overnight with those temperatures only dropping down into the 60s most spots, and it is affecting essentially all of western Washington unless you're right near the coast, the Strait, or up towards the San Juans, where it's going to be a lot more livable temperatures in those areas. We do have a National Weather Service heat advisory out for the same period of time there for western Washington. Also a heat advisory out for the east slopes of the Cascades, where they're looking at triple-digit temperatures. That one on the east side of the Cascades will continue through 8 p.m. on Tuesday evening. We do have some warm nights, and with that, though, pretty good to go out and do some observing, and we're seeing the Perseid meteor shower peak tomorrow night into Wednesday. The bad news with that is that normally it's a big producer, and it's usually the best viewing is after midnight. Unfortunately, we're just past the full moon. That's going to be rising about the time it starts to get dark, so that's going to interfere with the viewing. As we head towards the weekend, next weekend, as it starts to rise a little bit later, you might be able to get out before the moon rises in the late evening and get a chance to see some of those meteors that you wouldn't be seeing with the moon out. And we also have something else going on in the sky. If you get up early in the morning and go out and look towards the east, Jupiter and Venus are in conjunction when they get closest passage past each other as we head towards, well, it was this morning and again on Tuesday morning. They'll be about a degree apart, which is about twice the diameter of the moon, and they're the 2 brightest planets in the sky, so it's pretty nice shot to go out and take a look at, and that'll be anywhere from about, maybe 15 to 45 minutes before sunrise. You should be able to pick those out pretty easily. Take a look at that smoke forecast. You can see if we put that into motion, smoke stays pretty much right around that Bear Gulch fire there over at Lake Cushman and doesn't really spread out all that much. We are seeing a little bit of it visibly show up there, but not really affecting that air quality. In fact, we're expecting good air quality for most stations, but the places just downwind from there are going to pick up a little bit of a decrease into the moderate range, but just barely into the moderate range in those areas. So they should be in pretty good shape. And you can see we don't see any degradation. In fact, tomorrow we see even fewer stations dropping down into the moderate range. So overall for today, sunny and hot, temperatures in the 80s to low to maybe some mid 90s. Tomorrow will be our hottest day of the week, will be in the 80s to low to mid 90s. Not setting any records. The records are actually around 96 for out at SCA, and they should stay pretty much in the low 90s. Big drop off on Wednesday with mostly sunny skies, but those temperatures dropping down into the mid 70s for highs. A few more clouds on Thursday, and then Friday we actually get a front through here that's going to give us a little light rain at times, not big quantities, but it should wet everybody down with temperatures getting into the mid 60s to near 70 degrees. Decreasing showers Saturday, and it looks like a partly sunny day Sunday, and highs over the weekend mostly in the mid 70s.